In the process of trading, the vast majority of traders ignore it. A very important goal of trading. It's about getting low-cost chips. One mentions trading to make money. Everyone subconsciously thinks of the price unfolding trend. A period of large ups and downs leads to large profits. Everybody can see a lot of big ones. The market has brought a lot of high-yielding accounts. But there is actually an important premise for long-term sustained profitability. It's not from big trends. It's about whether you can get low-cost chips. Let me give you an example to make it easier to understand this matter. Let's say you're running a company right now. Produce your own products, and then develop customers to sell. There is a cost to develop customers. Sourcing raw materials and producing products also requires costs. After the sale to the customer, the company is able to reap the benefits. We're going to ignore the details and just consider these main elements. Look at it as a whole. What kind of state can a company be profitable? That is, the benefits have to cover the costs, and the loss situation is very simple. It's just that the benefits can't cover the costs, so what are the costs? On the one hand, there is a cost to acquire customers and make sales. Some fail, and the cost is spent. If the sale is successful, there will be revenue. On the other hand, an important cost is the production cost of the product. If you look at the analogy to trading, it's the same two aspects. One is where you choose to enter to get your chips. On the other hand, the process of placing an order is like the sales process of a company. The loss of an order is equivalent to the cost of a failed sale. And the order that ends up being profitable brings you profit. Use this simple model by understanding the patterns of different companies. You can understand the status of your own trading. It's like some companies are doing low customer unit value. Products with relatively small profit margins. Small profits, quick turnover, this is on the transaction. Similar to some scalping trading styles. Some companies are making products with high customer unit prices. This one is like a strategy for certain trend trades. It doesn't matter what kind of trading method it is. There are people who make money, there are people who lose money, and there are different ways to make money. But the reason for losing money is often or more. The controllable reason is that the cost is too high. The high cost mainly comes from two aspects. On the one hand, your conversion rate is too low, resulting in a high cost of sales. The second aspect is that you don't have an advantage of your own, and the cost of production is too high. Analogy to trading. There are also two aspects. One is that your accuracy rate is too low. The other is that your entry position is too poor and the cost of chips is too high. So back to this simple model, the gains are able to cover the losses. To be able to make a profit. The way that many people think of turning a profit is to find quotes and methods that can bring great profit margins. But there is an opportunity for big gains in the market. His time window is limited. You want to make stable profits in the market for a long time. The more important way is actually in terms of cost. Be able to have the ability to reduce your own transaction costs. Ability to get low-cost chips. Of course, to reduce your own transaction costs. It needs to be supported by cognition and ability. This way, different sales will have different conversion rates. Pink round why pimpin'? That's the embodiment of ability. To produce the same product, some companies can rely on their own technology. There can be a lower cost. Able to rely on their own cash flow to get better policies for the supply chain. These are all supported by cognitive and experiential abilities. By extension, why is it important to get low-cost chips? I'll give you an example of a trading opportunity with a trend reversal. The price was previously in a continuous downward trend. There is now a strong bullish workhorse band breaking through key highs. We judge the reversal of the market to participate in the direction of the bulls. At this time, as long as the price does not break through the current low, Without continuing to make new lows, we can all consider the reversal to be effective. The effective stop loss should be set according to this position. Now you want to get involved in a few ways. The first option is to buy directly and be firmly bullish regardless of the issue of stop loss. The second type is to buy at a loss. Set an effective stop loss based on the lowest point. The stop loss is large in order to ensure that the risk is controllable. Only very small positions can be used. Third, buy directly with a loss amount, but the stop loss is too big. Actively reduce the stop loss and move the stop loss up. Later, the price began to adjust again. In the process of adjustment, the organization is formed. At this time, on the basis of judging the direction of the bulls on the basis of opportunities. There is a low-cost location again. It is possible to participate in this opportunity with low-cost chips. And then look at the trend of the subsequent market, and it is indeed the same as expected. The decline reversed and continued to rise. The first way may end up being profitable. It may also not be able to withstand the adjustment of the downward stop-loss exit. In short, risk is uncontrollable and tests your mindset. The second way is to make a profit. The stop-loss is effective, and the subsequent profit and loss ratio is about twice as much. Let's say you set a loss of 3% of your entire account. In the end, there will be a 6% gain. Relatively speaking, the disadvantage is that the efficiency is relatively low. The third way is to subjectively set a stop loss and finally exit at a loss. There is no problem in judging the direction because the stop loss is invalid and the loss is in vain. The fourth way is that the position of entry is optimal. The stop loss is effective and the amplitude will be smaller. Ability to have a higher profit-loss ratio. Suppose it is also 3% of the position to manage this amount. Trades can have a 5x profit and loss ratio. That is, you can have a 15% return. The disadvantage is that a lot of times it is possible. You won't be given that kind of opportunity to participate. The same opportunity, the same amplitude, the same judgment of direction. But the profit and loss situation and the amount of profit and loss are very different. Another angle if you can get low-cost chips. A band of space. It is possible that the gains of trading a large section of the trend are similar to those of others. If there is a trend of trading the same with low-cost chips, your earnings will be much higher than those of others. That's why it's important to get low-cost chips. Finally, to summarize briefly, we have both benefits and costs for trading. If you want to make a profit, you need to cover the cost with benefits. Most people are looking for ways to boost their earnings. But in my experience, the more effective and stable way is to reduce costs. There are two main reasons for the high cost. One is that the accuracy rate is too low. Too many stop losses, the cost of getting a profit opportunity is too high. The resulting loss of funds is too great. The other is that there is no advantage in entry, resulting in the cost of your own chips being too high. The cost of chips for entering the market is high. It's not taking high risk. It is that the stop loss is invalid, or the profit and loss ratio is low and the efficiency is low. I want to improve the accuracy rate. That requires you to improve your knowledge and ability to the market. And how do you get low-cost chips? In fact, they all come from key positions in the market. The key position can be seen in what I said earlier. Video of the key highs and lows of support resistance if you have been losing money. It can be done in two ways that lead to high costs. Observe if this is the case with your own trading. So I want to turn a profit. It is advisable not to focus on the big market at the moment. It's about reducing costs first, starting with low-cost chips.